Having come upon him in that state, you have easily defeated him. You should rebuke yourself, since you did not take precaution for your own protection. Indeed, O hero, how would you have behaved towards one who was your own dependent? Thus addressed by Arjuna, the Kuru general Bhurishavas left Satyaki there on the field of battle and sat down in yogic meditation to give up his body. He spread with his left hand a bed of arrows and sat down there with the intention of giving up his mortal frame. All the warriors who witnessed that action began to talk highly of the son of Somadat, and with their words they derided the action of Krishna and Arjuna. Not tolerating those words, Arjuna spoke loudly to all present. Everyone here is acquainted with my great vow, that no one shall succeed in slaying anybody on the side of the Pandavas who is within the reach of my arrows. Remembering this, O Bhurishavas, you should not find fault with me. That I have cut off your arm while you were engaged in battle with Satyaki is not contrary to morality. What morality was there when my son Abhimanyu was unfairly defeated by 6 great warriors? He was carless and weaponless, but still you pierced him with your arrows. Not replying to the words of Arjuna, Bhurishavas sat in meditation, determined to give up his life. Arjuna again spoke to him. O son of Somadat, you are a member of our family, and you are very dear to me. I love you as much as I do my own brothers. You may now attain that destination which is only obtainable by the meditation of great mystic yogis. Lord Krishna said, O Bhurishavas, I am also pleased with you. You have constantly performed sacrifices and Agnihotras. You may now ascend to my spiritual abode that is free from the contamination of this material world. That destination is desired by the foremost of the demigods, Lord Brahma, and is the ultimate goal of life. Leaving your body, my carrier Garuda will take you to the spiritual world. Sanjaya continued. When Satyaki had regained consciousness, he rose up and drew his sword, desiring to cut off the head of Bhurishavas. Although all the warriors forbid him to do so, he raised his sword to kill the sinless son of Somadat, who was sitting in meditation. Krishna, Arjuna, Bhima, Uttamojas, and Yudamanyu also forbid Satyaki from performing this apparently sinful act. While all the soldiers who were calling out in disapproval, Satyaki cut off the head of Bhurishavas, who was preparing to enter the spiritual world. None of the warriors approved of this act of Satyaki, but the demigods who were watching from the heavens expressed their approval of the killing of the great Kuru warrior. The Kaurava heroes spoke amongst themselves. This is actually no fault of the Vrishni hero, for this is a predestined act. It has been decided by higher authorities that Bhurishavas is to be slain by Satyaki. There is no use passing judgment on whether it is right or wrong. Satyaki then addressed the Kaurava warriors. You are all sinful persons wearing the dress of righteous men. Where was your righteousness when the son of Subhadra, while fighting on foot, was killed by 7 great warriors? I have already taken a vow that any man who strikes me with his foot will be slain by me, even if he is engaged in the practice of asceticism. That which is ordained by providence must happen. Sanjaya continued, O king, after Satyaki had spoken these words, none of the warriors on either side said anything, but within their hearts they glorified the heroic son of Somadat. Dhritarashtra inquired, Satyaki had defeated Drona, Karna, and Kritavarman in battle. Having crossed the ocean of the Kaurava army, how is it that the Vrishni hero had been thrown to the ground by the Kuru warrior Bhurishavas? Sanjaya said, Hear from me, O king, how this predestined activity came about in the form of a benediction offered by Lord Shiva to the Kuru descendant Somadat. In the Yadu race there was a great hero named Surasen. He had many sons, out of which 2, Shini and Vasudeva, were very famous. In the Svayambara ceremony of Devaki, Shini came and took Devaki onto his chariot and vanquished all the kings that opposed him. It so happened that Somadat could not tolerate that action and proceeded in battle against Shini. A battle then ensued which lasted half a day, and in the end Shini was able to throw Somadat to the ground and kick him with his foot. Shini kicked Somadat in the chest in the presence of thousands of warriors. Out of compassion, Shini let the Kuru hero live and sent him away with his life. Humiliated in this way, Somadat went to the forest and performed very severe austerities to please Lord Shiva. When the great Mahadev was pleased with Somadat, he appeared before him and asked him to take a benediction. Somadat said, O Lord, please give me the benediction of a son who can defeat Shini's son in combat and strike him with his foot in the midst of thousands of warriors. Lord Shiva granted the benediction, and as a result Bhurishavas took birth as the son of Somadat, and Satyaki took birth as the descendant of Shini. The Vrishni heroes can never be defeated in battle, for their prowess exceeds all on earth. This has happened due to the benediction offered by Lord Shiva. Dhritarashtra inquired. O Sanjaya, after the great Maharati Bhurishravas had been slain, what happened to Krishna and Arjuna as the sun began to set on the horizon? Sanjaya replied, O descendant of Bharat, after the Kuru general Bhurishravas had ascended to the spiritual world, the mighty armed Arjuna spoke unto Vyasadeva, saying, O Krishna, take me to the spot where the ruler of the Sindhus, Jayadrath, is staying. The sun is about to set on the western horizon. Jayadrath is being protected by many heroic chariot fighters and will be difficult to defeat. Urge the horses toward this chariot, for I will vanquish those Kuru heroes and kill Jayadrath. Following the instructions of his devotee, Lord Krishna drove the celestial chariot of Arjuna towards the Suchimukha formation in which Jayadrath was carefully guarded. Seeing him coming, King Duryodhana spoke to the son of Radha, Karna, these words. O Karna, the time for battle has now come at last. Act in such a way that the king of the Sindhus, Jayadrath, may not be killed, and Arjuna's vow will be falsified. If Jayadrath can be protected, then Arjuna will have to enter fire, and with his death the victory will be ours. With the death of Arjuna, the other Pandavas will be slain easily, and then we can rule this world with its oceans and islands in great happiness. In this formation are Ashvatthama, Kripa, Kritavarman, Dushashan, Salya, yourself, and myself. How then will it be possible for Arjuna to defeat all of us? Karna replied, O king, my body has been deeply pierced by the arrows of Bhima, and every limb of mine suffers with pain. However, I shall fight to the best of my ability, for I have surrendered my life to you. As long as I shall fight, the heroic Dhananjaya will not be able to kill Jayadrath. Let all the forces witness the battle between myself and Vivatsu. As regards to victory, that will be dependent on destiny. As Karna and the king were talking, Arjuna penetrated the core of a host and began slaughtering the ranks in his effort to kill Jayadrath. The foot soldiers, the horsemen, the chariot fighters, and those riding on elephants rushed at Arjuna to impede his progress. They were like moths entering fire as they came face to face with the celestial weapons of Arjuna. Those who died appreciating the wonderful deeds of Krishna and Arjuna fighting on their chariot were elevated to the Vaikuntha planetary system in the spiritual world. Those who saw at the last moment of their lives Lord Krishna with a bridle whip in his right hand and the reins in his left, moving swiftly across the battlefield, never returned to this material world again. Those who meditated on the beautiful lotus-like face of Lord Krishna, with his black curling hair and effulgent crown bedecked with peacock feather, never returned again to this material world. The Lord appeared to be working hard as he drove the chariot of his devotee. There were beads of sweat on his brow, and blood flowed from the arrow wounds on his transcendental body. This enhanced his beauty all the more. By driving the chariot of Arjuna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, was assuring the liberation of all who died in front of him. Such was his causeless mercy. Arjuna cut into the core of an army and caused a massacre of men on the field of battle. Rushing at Arjuna was Duryodhana, Karna, Vrishasen, Salya, Ashvatthama, and Kripa. All those warriors were placed in front of Jayadrath for his protection. They released hundreds of arrows and covered the chariot of Krishna and Arjuna so they could not be seen. However, Arjuna countered and pierced each of the great warriors with numerous shafts. Bhimasen and Satyaki were close behind Arjuna, assisting him in his fight with the great Kaurava warriors. Arjuna pierced Karna with 100 arrows and caused blood to flow from each wound. Karna then released 50 arrows that pierced Falgun and 10 arrows that pierced Krishna. Greatly enraged, Arjuna cut off Karna's bow and penetrated his chest with 9 arrows. He then took out a celestial weapon of solar effulgence and released it at Karna for his destruction. However, Ashvatthama cut it off in mid-air as it came upon Karna with the speed of a meteor. Karna then took up another bow and began to rain upon Arjuna hundreds of arrows. Roaring like bulls, those two warriors filled the sky with their arrows. Arjuna then cut off the head of the charioteer of Karna and caused his horses to run wild. Ashvatthama quickly appeared and took Karna upon his chariot, and they both continued fighting against Partha. Salya pierced Arjuna with 30 arrows, and Kripa pierced Lord Krishna with 20. Arjuna countered and pierced Salya with 100, and Kripa with 20. As the fighting was becoming more intense, Arjuna invoked the Varuna weapon, causing great fear to the army of Duryodhana. Overcoming their fear, they all rushed at Arjuna with great speed. The whole sky was filled with weapons as the Kaurava army approached the son of Kunti. Foot soldiers released their javelins and battle axes, some threw their maces, and others ran at the chariot of Arjuna with upraised swords. However, all met with death as the son of Pandu shattered their weapons and severed their limbs from their body. The sound of the Gandiva bow exactly resembled the peal of thunder in a rain cloud, and the arrows of Arjuna exactly resembled lightning bolts as they were released from the Gandiva bow. Arjuna then invoked the Aindur weapon, and from his bow came thousands upon thousands of arrows that were blazing with fire. Inspired with the force of celestial weapons, those arrows took away the lives of thousands upon thousands of infantrymen, horsemen, and chariot fighters. Huge elephants with their riders fell to the earth in hundreds as the son of Kunti made his way toward Jayadratha. The sun and the horizon were meeting together in the distance, and the combination caused the sky to turn red. Krishna was driving the chariot of Arjuna with greater speed, and finally Arjuna caught sight of Jayadratha. His flagstaff was marked with the sign of a boar. Arjuna quickly pierced him with 64 arrows and sent up a loud shout. Not tolerating that action, Jayadratha flamed up with anger and pierced Arjuna with 6 arrows that resembled venomous serpents. He also pierced Lord Krishna with 3 arrows. The whole Kaurava army surrounded Arjuna and began to shower their weapons. Lord Krishna found that it was difficult driving the chariot in the mass of dead soldiers. All the great Kaurava warriors attacked Arjuna at once, but not minding them, he quickly cut off the head of Jayadratha's charioteer and felled his standard with a single arrow. The sun was now being devoured by the horizon, and seeing the situation, Lord Krishna spoke to Arjuna. Just see, O son of Kunti, how Jayadratha has been carefully protected by the 6 great warriors. Without vanquishing those 6 Maharathis, you will never be able to kill Jayadratha. I shall therefore cover the sun with my own potency, so that it appears that the sun has set. At that time Jayadratha will no longer guard himself closely. Taking the opportunity given to you, you should cut off his head with your arrows. Do not be afraid of the darkness and think that the sun has set. It is simply a display of my internal potency to aid you in killing Jayadratha. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead covered the sun with his mighty potencies, and it appeared as if the sun had set on the horizon. All the Kaurava warriors, including Jayadratha, turned their heads in excitement toward the sun's path. They now thought that Arjuna would have to enter fire. While Jayadratha was looking at the setting sun, Lord Krishna again spoke to Arjuna. Just see how the ruler of the Sindhus is looking at the setting sun. He is joyful and has cast off all fear of you. Take the opportunity and cut off his head with your sharpened arrows. Lord Krishna then drove the chariot with great speed toward Jayadratha. Arjuna began to pierce each of the great warriors with his numerous arrows and drove them away from the protection of Jayadratha. They were all extremely puzzled at the actions of Arjuna. Although they tried to impede his progress, they were driven away by the force of his weapons. The battlefield was thick with soldiers, and Arjuna had to carve his way closer to Jayadratha. Arjuna then took out the Pashupata Astra given to him by Lord Shiva. As he set it on his bow, Lord Krishna again spoke to him. O Dhananjaya, quickly cut off the head of the sinful Jayadratha. However, do not let the head touch the ground. It is known that the father of Jayadratha, Vidhakshetra, protected his son with a benediction, saying that anyone who caused the head of his son to fall to the ground would have his own head cracked into 100 pieces. Vidhakshetra has retired to the forest for meditation. He is just near here at Samanta Panchaka. Cutting off Jayadratha's head, you should guide the arrow and the head to the lap of Jayadratha's father. Vidhakshetra will then throw the head to the ground, causing his own destruction. Following the orders of the Lord of the Universe, Arjuna drew the string of his bow to full length and released the mighty celestial weapon. It pierced the air like a lightning bolt and snatched the head of Jayadratha from his body, continuing on toward the Samanta Panchaka place of pilgrimage. King Vidhakshetra was engaged in offering his evening prayers, and suddenly he saw in his lap a severed head with black hair and glittering earrings. He at once threw the head to the ground, causing his own head to crack into many pieces. At the sight of this, all the demigods were filled with wonder and began to applaud the prowess of Krishna and Arjuna. When Jayadratha had been slain in this way, the darkness had been created by Lord Krishna was removed, and again the sun was seen on the horizon. The Kauravas then realized that the darkness had been created by the mystic power of Lord Krishna, and they could also understand that as long as the Supreme Lord rode on the chariot of Arjuna, there was no possibility of their victory. That day Arjuna caused the annihilation of 8 Akshahini divisions of soldiers. In other words, Arjuna himself killed approximately 2 million men on that 14th day of the battle. Lord Krishna then blew his conch shell, the Panchajanya, and Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta. That sound filled the heavens in all directions, and was heard by Yudhisthira, who was many miles away. The first son of Kunti could understand that Jayadratha had been killed, and the whole Pandava army roared with joy. Meanwhile, Krishna sounded his conch shell on the Rishava note. This was the signal that Daruka should bring to Krishna his own chariot. Daruka quickly appeared on the scene and waited for instructions from his worshipful lord. Krishna said, "Take Satyaki on this chariot and help him in his fight against Karna." Daruka quickly went to the spot where Satyaki was releasing his arrows. He ascended the chariot of Lord Krishna and waited as Karna came rushing towards him. Karna was enraged that Jayadratha had been killed, and he wanted to take his anger out on someone. He attacked Satyaki and fought with all his prowess, but in the end his horses and his chariot driver were killed. To save him from death, Ashvatthama, Salya, and Vrishasen encompassed Satyaki and covered him with a shower of arrows. Karna then quickly ascended the chariot of Duryodhana. Satyaki quickly overcame Ashvatthama, Salya, and Vrishasen with his arrows and refrained from killing the brothers of Duryodhana, remembering the vow of Bhima. The prowess of Satyaki was unequaled amongst the Kuru warriors. He had defeated Drona, Karna, and killed Jalasandha and Bhurisravas. All on the battlefield considered that after Krishna and Arjuna there was only one great bowman, and that was Satyaki. Together, on that single day, Arjuna, Satyaki, and Bhima had destroyed 8 Akshahini divisions of troops. Dhritarashtra said, "After the death of Jayadratha, what did the second son of Kunti, Bhima, do, having his chariot destroyed?" Sanjaya replied, "O king, after Bhimasen had been made Kauras, Arjuna came to him. Bhimasen then related everything that Karna had said to him, calling him a fool, glutton, etc. Enraged, Arjuna went near Karna and spoke to him in a loud voice. O wicked son of Asuta, you are puffed up with false pride. You have been defeated many times by Bhima, now Satyaki, and still you think yourself great. You have uttered harsh words against Bhima, and you cut the string of my son's bow while he wasn't looking. My son Abhimanyu was killed unfairly in battle by cowards like yourself. For these offenses you will die in battle along with your relatives and friends. I take a vow that I will kill your son Vrishasen even while you are looking on. After his death I will kill you, and I will watch as Duryodhana sheds tears and engages in all kinds of lamentations." After Arjuna had vowed the death of Karna and his son, the sun completed its descent into the western horizon. At that time Lord Krishna spoke to Arjuna. He said, "By good luck, O Falgun, your vow has been completed. Many great chariot fighters have been slain by you, and Jayadratha has met his end according to his destiny. No other warrior could have completed this vow." Replying to Lord Krishna, Arjuna said, "Through your grace, O Janardhan, has this vow been completed. O my lord, when the Pandavas have you for their master, then victory does not seem wonderful. Through your grace, Yudhisthira will obtain victory over the sons of Dhritarashtra and obtain sovereignty of the entire earth. This is your victory, my lord, and all our prosperity is due to you. O slayer of Madhu, please accept us as your surrendered servants and maintain us as you see fit." Sanjaya continued. After the two Krishnas had spoken to each other, they made their way to Yudhisthira. Coming to the king's presence, Lord Krishna spoke to Yudhisthira. "O king, by good luck your younger brother has kept his vow. The ruler of the Sindhus has been slain, and prosperity is yours." Thus addressed by Lord Krishna, the king descended from his chariot with tears in his eyes. He affectionately embraced Arjuna and Krishna and spoke to them as follows. "By God's grace I can behold you today, O Arjuna. By good luck the sinful Jayadratha has been slain and your vow fulfilled." Turning to Lord Krishna, Yudhisthira said, "O Vyasadeva, you are the master of the 3 worlds, and they that have you as their protector will never meet with defeat in their struggle for life. O Govinda, you are the lord of the 3 worlds and the master of Indra. O mighty armed one, you are the creator of this cosmic manifestation, and you are the supersoul in everyone's heart. The Vedic mantras sing your glories. O Hrishikesh, those who take shelter in you will obtain the highest prosperity in this material world." Krishna replied, "My dear King Yudhisthira, I regard the Kauravas and their kinsmen to be already dead in battle. O slayer of the enemy, one who has offended my devotees can never have happiness in this world. Kingdom, family, and wealth will be lost to those who have done harm to my pure devotees." As Lord Krishna was speaking, Satyaki and Bhima also appeared, and the king out of affection embraced both of them and congratulated them on their victory. All the warriors on the side of the Pandavas became joyful, and once more they set their heart on battle. Dhritarashtra said, "O Sanjaya, after the king of the Sindhus had been killed, what did my sons do, having failed to keep their vow?" Sanjaya replied, "O king, upon the fall of Jayadratha, Duryodhana went to the preceptor Drona and said, 'Behold, my teacher, the immense slaughter of kings that have supported me in battle. The mighty bowman Jalasandha has been killed by Satyaki. Also Sudakshin and Alambusha lay on the field of battle, killed by the arrows of the enemy. Alas, Somadev's son has been killed, as well as Jayadratha, to whom you have promised protection. 7 Akshahini divisions of troops were slain by Arjuna alone on this 14th day. In the absence of so many of my friends and relatives, I have no need for life. I should go today to those regions where those bulls among men have gone for my sake. O preceptor of the sons of Pandu, let me have your permission in this matter." Drona replied, "O sinful wretch, why do you pierce my ears with your shaft-like words? I have repeatedly told you that Arjuna cannot be slain in battle. Sikandi, backed by Falgun, has killed Bhishma. When this happened, I knew that the Bharat host was doomed to death. It is only a matter of time for all of us. This frightful carnage of men has come about because you did not listen to the words of Vidura. In the presence of 6 great Maharatis, why was Jayadrath slain? It is more than just physical strength that will win this war. It is righteousness and devotion to God. The Pandavas have Krishna, who is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna has him for his chariot driver, and this being the case, Arjuna alone is sufficient to reduce this whole army to ashes. What hope then do you have for success? Coming towards me now are the Srinjayas and the Panchalas. I will not rest from battle until they are slain. My son will help me. You should now go and protect the troops. Both the Kurus and the Pandavas are extremely angry and will fight into the night. Go and prepare for battle. While the two were talking, the Pandava divisions appeared for battle. Thus ends the 9th chapter of the Drona Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata entitled The Death of Jayadrath. Chapter 10 of the Drona Parva, The Death of Ghatotkacha. Dhritarashtra inquired, O Sanjaya, after the death of the ruler of the Sindhus, Jayadrath, what did the Kaurava army headed by the invincible Drona do? Certainly Drona could not tolerate the fact that his vow had been violated. Please tell me everything that happened during the night battle that now took place. Sanjaya said, O king, the Kaurava army headed by Dronacharya could not tolerate their defeat at the hands of Partha. Reforming their divisions, they marched against the Pandavas. Even though the darkness of night had set in, they fought fiercely, slaying each other's ranks and causing a great carnage. The Somakas rushed against Drona in the pitch darkness of night with the desire to end his life. King Shivi was leading a division of troops, and he came upon the preceptor with the might of a tempest. King Shivi pierced Drona in the chest with 30 arrows and also killed his chariot driver. Seeing the situation, King Duryodhana sent to the preceptor another chariot driver. Rushing against King Shivi, Drona killed his 4 horses and then severed his head from his trunk. Highly enraged, Drona then began to consume the ranks of the Somakas with his celestial weapons. The son of the king of the Kalingas, supported by the Kalinga warriors, rushed against Bhimasen. Bhima had earlier killed his father, and the son, overcome with anger, began releasing his arrows for the destruction of Bhima. Not tolerating the prowess of his enemy, Bhima came upon his chariot and leaped into it. He raised the son of the king with his hands and killed him with one blow of his fist. Kalinga's son fell to the earth, having all his bones separated from one another. After this, Bhima proceeded to the chariot of Dhruva, the brother of the slain prince. He dragged him from his chariot, roaring all the while. He killed him with the repeated blows of his fist. Bhima then rushed at the chariot of Jayarata, and with one slap of his palm he killed that mighty hero of the Kalingas. This was all done within the sight of Karna. The son of Radha, not tolerating that action, took up a dart and threw it with all his strength at the second son of Kunti. Bhima caught the dart in his hands and threw it back at Karna, blazing like a meteor. However, Shakuni shattered it to pieces with his arrows. Ascending his chariot, Bhima rushed against the Kaurava warriors, thirsting for battle. He came upon the brother of Duryodhana, Durmata, and killed his horses and charioteer. Durmata then ascended the chariot of his brother Dushkarna, and together they proceeded against Bhima. In the very sight of Karna, Duryodhana, Somadat, Bayalika, and Ashvatthama, Bhima stomped on their chariot and smashed it into the ground. He then smashed those 2 brothers with his powerful fists. Indeed, there was no bone in their body that was not broken. Seeing the gruesome appearance of the second son of Kunti, all the warriors fled that spot. The battle became fierce on both sides. It was as if Kurukshetra had become the domain of Yamaraj himself. Ghatotkacha, surrounded by an Akshahini division of Rakshasas, attacked Ashvatthama, imploring the illusions of mystic power. The son of Ghatotkacha was Ajanaparvan, and there arose a fierce duel between him and the son of Drona. In the end, Ashvatthama made him carless, and descending from his chariot, Ajanaparvan took up a scimitar and threw it at Ashvatthama. The son of Drona cut it off in mid-air. Becoming enraged, the son of Ghatotkacha released a mace with all his strength. Ashvatthama also cut up that weapon to pieces. Ajanaparvan then ascended into the sky, and by his Rakshasa illusion began to rain trees upon the son of Drona. However, Ashvatthama killed him with his arrows as he fell to the earth. Overcome with intense anger, Ghatotkacha rushed at Ashvatthama, surrounded by his Akshahini division of soldiers. All those great warriors released their weapons at the chariot of Ashvatthama. The sky was filled with arrows, javelins, darts, maces, battle axes, and swords. Seeing that mass of weapons coming towards him, the son of Drona invoked his celestial weapons and shattered all those weapons to pieces. Ghatotkacha then released a celestial mace at the chariot of Ashvatthama. The son of Drona descended from his chariot and caught that weapon as it came upon him with great speed. Ashvatthama then released that weapon with all his might, and coursing through the air, it smashed the chariot of Ghatotkacha. The son of Bhima, unhurt by that weapon, ascended the chariot of Dristadumna and continued fighting with Drona's son. Taking out one of his celestial weapons, Ashvatthama slew 100,000 Rakshasa warriors as they rushed at him in combat. With hundreds and thousands of arrows blazing through the sky, Ashvatthama managed to reduce the size of that Akshini division to nothing. With the massacre of that large number of troops, Ghatotkacha became enraged and continued fighting with the son of Drona. Ashvatthama then killed one of the sons of Drupad named Surat, as well as his brother Shatrunjaya. He then killed the 10 sons of King Kunti Bhoj. Taking from his quiver an arrow that resembled the rod of death, the son of Drona released it at the chest of Ghatotkacha. Passing through his chest, that arrow entered into the earth. The son of Bhima then fell to the floor of Dristadumna's chariot, and fearing him dead, Dristadumna took him from the battlefield. Sanjaya continued. O king, after the death of Bhurishravas, his father Somadat was always desiring to kill Satyaki. He came upon him in the dead of night, and they began to harass each other with their deadly weapons. Somadat spoke to Satyaki. Why, O Satyaki, have you taken the practice of thieves? Why have you taken the life of my son, who was not engaged in battle? You are reputed to be a great chariot fighter, but today I shall cut off your head with my winged arrows. Satyaki replied, Stay in battle for a while and feel the pain caused by my arrows. I have already killed 2 of your sons, and today I will also kill you along with all your kinsmen. The 2 mighty warriors then fought on, releasing their deadly weapons. Bhima came and joined in the fight and released a wooden mallet at the head of Somadat. Satyaki also released an arrow that blazed through the sky like lightning. Both weapons hit Somadat at the same time and caused him to fall into a deadly swoon in his chariot. Beholding his son fallen in battle, Bayalika, the son of Pratipa, and brother of Maharaj Shantanu, rushed at Satyaki, releasing his mighty weapons. Bayalika also released a dart at Bhima, causing him to fall unconscious to the floor of his chariot. Coming to his senses, Bhima took up a mace and hurled it at his granduncle. That mace snatched off the head of Bayalika and then entered into the earth. The great-grandsire of the Kuru dynasty then fell to the ground like a tree struck by lightning. Sanjaya continued speaking to King Dhritarashtra. Overcome with the anger of this action, 10 of your sons, O king, rushed at Bhima to kill him. Their names were Nagadat, Dridharath, Viravahu, Ayubhuja, Didha, Suhasta, Viragas, Pramata, and Udrayin. They came upon Bhima and surrounded him with their chariots. With 10 arrows, Bhima quickly dispatched them to the abode of Yamaraj. Bhima then killed a brother of Karna named Virakrata, and 5 brothers of Shakuni named Gavaksha, Sarabha, Vibhu, Subhaga, and Bhanudatta. Seeing the Pandavas slaughtering the Kaurava host, Duryodhana spoke to Karna these words. O Karna, our warriors are encircled on all sides by the Pandavas. O my friend, go now and save them from certain destruction. The Pandavas are roaring with victory and penetrating our ranks. Go and smash their pride with your forceful arrows. Karna replied, Be cheerful, O descendant of Bharat. Even if the great Indra were to come himself, still I would slay all of the Pandavas. I will kill Arjuna with Indra's Shakti weapon and give you the sovereignty of the world. While I am alive, O Kaurava, you will not have to indulge in any kind of lamentation. Sanjaya continued. While Karna was uttering these words, Kripacharya addressed the Suta's son. If words alone, O Karna, could lead to victory, then certainly this army would be well protected. You are always boasting your glories, but we have not yet seen an exhibition of your prowess. Many times have we seen you encounter the sons of Pandu, and each time you have been defeated. While Duryodhana was being taken away by the Gandharvas in the forest of Dvaitavan, who was the first to run away? Outside of Virat city, the Kauravas united together to take away the cows. However, we were all vanquished by the Madhyam son of Kunti. I do not think that you are a fit match for any one of the Pandavas. Brave men never indulge in boasting, but prove their prowess on the field of battle. You are always building palaces in the air, and they are torn to pieces by the divine son of Kunti. Karna replied, I will vanquish the 3rd son of Kunti with the dart given to me by Indra, the king of heaven. Upon the fall of Arjuna, all the other Pandavas will be easily defeated. This earth will then become the sole property of the Kuru dynasty. Knowing all this, I speak with confidence about my prowess. As for yourself, you are a Brahmana by birth and have now grown old. You are unskilled in battle, and your main fault is that you seek the protection of the Pandavas. O son of Saradwat, if you speak to me again in these words, I will cut out your tongue. Many great warriors headed by Bhishma have fallen in this battle, but all of these are greater than the Pandavas. It is therefore destiny that is defeating us and not the Pandavas. O lowest of men, I will continue to fight to the best of my ability, and in the end you will see the son of Kunti slain by my arrows. Sanjaya continued. O monarch, after hearing the harsh words of Karna, Ashvatthama drew his scimitar and rushed at Karna to kill him. Duryodhana quickly seized the son of Drona before he could sever the head of Karna. Duryodhana then said, O Ashvatthama, anger is never the sign of a Brahmana. O sinless one, do not be angry with Karna, who is trying to encourage all of us. Forgive him, and together let us engage in battle with the Pandava force. Suppressing their anger, both Kripa and Ashvatthama forgave Karna, but in their hearts they knew that the pride of the Suta's son would be vanquished when he met Arjuna face to face in battle. Thus forgiving each other and uniting in combat, those great Maharathis began to grind the ranks of the Pandava host. When Karna came upon Arjuna, he attacked him with great strength. Those two warriors, who were actually brothers, began to cover each other with their mighty weapons. In the end, however, Arjuna smashed his chariot and horses, and also killed his chariot driver. Karna was then taken upon the chariot of Kripa, and thus the vanity of that boastful person was smashed by the prowess of Arjuna. Satyaki then came upon the son of Bayalika, Somadat. Those two great heroes again fought, desiring each other's death. With the death of his sons Sala and Bhurishravas, Somadat was always looking for the opportunity to fight with Satyaki. He pierced Satyaki with 10 arrows and sent up a loud roar. Satyaki quickly cut off his bow and killed his horses. He then released an arrow of fiery effulgence that was as sharp as a razor. Falling upon the chest of that Kuru general, it deprived him of his life. He fell from his chariot like a demigod falls to the earth after the exhaustion of his pious activities. With this action, the troops that were supporting him fled out of fear. The last son of Somadat, named Buri, rushed at Satyaki with the intention of avenging the death of his father and brothers. He fought with Satyaki for some time, but in the end he was killed by a dart that pierced his chest. In the darkness of night, the two armies grinded each other in the war of attrition. When the darkness was so dense that no one could tell which side the other was on, Duryodhana ordered that the soldiers carry torches. Very soon the whole Kaurava army was seen under the light of these torches and lamps. The Pandava army also took up torches and lamps, and the fighting continued on. Even the celestial demigods, by their mystic power, created light in the heavens, and indeed the battlefield of Kurukshetra looked wonderful. Sahadeva encountered Karna, and a fierce battle took place. Karna remembered his promise to his real mother Kunti, and for some time he played with Sahadeva as a cat plays with a mouse. The valiant son of Madri pierced Karna with 20 arrows. However, Karna quickly killed the horses of Sahadeva as well as his charioteer. Descending from his chariot, Sahadeva took up a sword and shield and ran at Karna. The son of Radha cut off with his arrows that effulgent sword and shield that was protecting the powerful son of Madri. Sahadeva then released a mace, but it was cut into fragments by the arrows of Karna. Sahadeva released with all his strength a dart of golden effulgence. When that weapon was also cut off, Sahadeva hurled at his elder brother chariot wheels, limbs of elephants, dead horses, and dead human bodies. All these, however, were cut to pieces by the arrows of Karna. Having no weapon, Sahadeva retreated from battle. He was followed by Karna, who touched him with the horn of his bow, saying, Do not fight in battle those that are superior to you, O son of Madri. Fight with those that are your equals. Laughing all the while, Karna proceeded against the Panchalas, granting life to Sahadeva, whom he could have killed if he desired. Karna then began to destroy the ranks of the Pandavas with his celestial weapons. Men slaughtered in thousands littered the battlefield, creating a river of blood. Seeing the destruction of his troops, King Yudhisthira went to Arjuna and said, Just see the mighty bowman Karna stationed in the distance like Rudra himself. I cannot tolerate the wails of our troops. Go, O Falgun, and do what is necessary for slaying the Suta's son, thus fulfilling your vow. Hearing the words of the son of Dharma, Arjuna spoke to Hrishikesh these words. Yudhisthira is afraid for the safety of the enemy. Karna appears like Yamaraj himself, who engages in the destruction of all living beings. O tiger of the Vrishni race, proceed therefore to the place where Karna is releasing his arrows. O slayer of Madhu, I will either slay him or he will slay me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead replied, I can see, O son of Kunti, Karna covering the battlefield like a demigod himself. I do not think that the time is right for you to engage in battle with that mighty warrior. As long as he has Indra's Shakti weapon, it will be difficult to defeat him. Let the son of Bhima Gadodkach proceed against Karna. He is endowed with mystic powers, and is a suitable combatant to fight against Radha's son. Arjuna then called for Ghatotkacha, and soon Bhima's son appeared. Then Lord Krishna spoke to him these words. Listen, O Ghatotkacha, to what I have to say. You must now become the boat to save the Pandavas from the wrathful storms of Karna. Just near here the Suta's son is killing our troops in thousands. Go and quickly stop him from devouring our troops. Ghatotkacha replied, I am as much a match for Karna as I am for Drona. I will fight with Karna in such a way that the subject of this battle will be spoken of until the creation ends. Tonight I will spare none. Even those that ask for mercy will receive none from me. Saying this much, Ghatotkacha headed into battle. The son of Bhima had a copper face and a huge form. His belly was sunken, and the hair on his body pointed upwards. The top of his head was green, and his ears were like arrows. His tongue was very long, and his mouth extended from ear to ear. His teeth were long and sharp, and his nose was thick. On his head he wore a beautiful crown arching over the top of his forehead. His earrings were bright, and he wore garlands of flowers mixed with gold. Opening his mouth wide and roaring loudly, he proceeded against the son of Radha. When both warriors met, there was a fierce fight between them. Both were expert in weapons, and both were highly enraged. They fought like two angry elephants over a she-elephant in heat. Karna had to resort to his celestial weapons, and Ghatotkacha had to resort to his Rakshasa illusions. Ghatotkacha was surrounded by man-eating Rakshasas of fierce proportions. There were thousands of them, and because it was night time, they became more powerful. They all rushed to Karna, releasing a thick shower of stones and rocks. The supporting soldiers of Karna fled out of fear, and only Karna stood releasing his celestial weapons. Beholding the illusion destroyed by Karna, Ghatotkacha took up an effulgent chakra and released it with great force. That weapon blazing through the sky was then cut off by the arrows of the Suta's son. Greatly angered, Karna killed Ghatotkacha's horses and smashed his chariot. He then pierced the son of Bhima with so many arrows that there was not a 2 fingers' breadth of space where there was not an arrow. Roaring loudly, Ghatotkacha caused thousands upon thousands of arrows to fall from the sky. He himself then produced many heads that began to devour the celestial weapons of Karna. At one point the son of Bhima was seen lying on the battlefield as if dead, and at another time he was seen assuming many hideous forms, the size of mountains. He was then seen assuming a small form and piercing the earth. In the next moment he was seen riding on a golden chariot wandering through the earth and sky. He came near Karna and said, Stand before me in battle for a while, O Suta's son. I will satisfy your desire for battle, and I will today feast on your flesh. Saying this much, the fierce Rakshasa rose up into the sky, roaring with laughter. By his mystic power he produced a mountain, and from that mountain fell swords, lances, stones, and boulders. Upon seeing that mountain in the heavens, Karna was not agitated in the least, but invoked a celestial weapon that destroyed the mystic illusion. Ghatotkacha then produced a huge rain cloud, and from that cloud fell stones, trees, and lightning bolts. Karna invoked a Vayavi weapon that dispersed the huge cloud. By the mystic power of Bhima's son, Rakshasas were seen everywhere. Some were riding on elephants, some on chariots, and some on horses. They filled the earth as well as the sky, and to ordinary person they would have caused great fear. Ghatotkacha then released the Anjalika weapon that shattered the strong bow of Karna. Taking up another bow, Karna destroyed the mystic illusion that was surrounding him. Ghatotkacha then took up an Asani that was given to him by Rudra. That celestial weapon had 8 chakras revolving on it, and it was the deadliest of weapons. Descending from his chariot, the son of Bhima released that weapon for the destruction of Karna. However, Karna descended from his chariot and caught the weapon as it came to him. He then hurled it back at Ghatotkacha, destroying his chariot and mules. Karna then pierced Ghatotkacha with many arrows, upon which the son of Bhima disappeared from sight like smoke rising into the sky. There then appeared on the battlefield lions, tigers, hyenas, snakes with fiery tongues, and birds with iron beaks. There was also seen wolves, leopards, and many other animals endowed with hideous forms. They all screamed fiercely and approached Karna to devour him. However, the Suta's son pierced all those animals with his arrows, and then destroyed the mystic illusions with his celestial weapons. There then came to the side of the Kauravas the Rakshasa named Alayudha. His kinsmen had been Baka, Kiramira, and Hidimba. He came to the side of the Kauravas hoping to engage Bhima in a single fight and kill him. He was accompanied by numerous fierce Rakshasas, and they were all eager for battle. Duryodhana welcomed the Rakshasa Alayudha and spoke to him. Just near here, Radha's son is engaged with the son of Bhima, Ghatotkacha. Go there and assist Karna so that the mighty Rakshasa will not kill him. Abiding by the orders of Duryodhana, the Rakshasa went into battle with the son of Bhima. Suddenly Bhima appeared on the scene and supported his son in a fight against Alayudha. Alayudha, seeing Bhima present before him, left his fight with Ghatotkacha and rushed at Bhima, releasing his mighty arrows. Bhima, stretching his bow to full length, released arrows that were as forceful as lightning. Alayudha cut up some of those arrows with his own, and others he caught in his hand. Bhima then threw a mace at the Rakshasa, but Alayudha released his own, and the two collided together, causing a great sound that made the very earth to tremble. The Rakshasa Alayudha then killed the horses of Bhima and caused him to descend from his chariot. Upon seeing this, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, "Let us go immediately to where these Rakshasas are harassing our army. It is night time, and they are fighting fiercely. Just see, Alayudha has made Bhima carless, and now Bhima is fighting on foot. Immediately send Ghatotkacha to fight with him." Following the instructions of their Lord and Master Krishna, Arjuna ordered Ghatotkacha to engage Alayudha in battle. The son of Bhima then gave up his fight with Karna and attacked the brother of Baka. They fought with each other using mystic illusions and other weapons. They struck each other with arrows, swords, maces, and lances, roaring all the while. They struck each other with their strong fists and pulled each other by the hair. Blood was flowing from both Rakshasas, and when they hit each other, blood splattered in all directions. Finally, Ghatotkacha picked up Alayudha and dashed him upon the ground. Taking out a large sword, he severed his head from his body. Rushing to the place where Duryodhana was, the son of Bhima placed the severed head on his chariot, saying, "No one should visit the king without bringing some present." Laughing loudly and opening his mouth from ear to ear, the mighty Rakshasa returned to his own chariot. Overcome with fear, the Kaurava army ran in all directions. Ghatotkacha then engaged Karna in battle and began to shower him with his mystic weapons. When the son of Bhima found that he could not conquer Karna, he invoked into existence a highly powerful weapon. With that weapon he killed the horses and charioteer of Karna. He then disappeared from sight. All thought that Karna would now be slain. To protect his life, Karna began to cover the sky with his celestial weapons. For a moment there was nothing but silence. Looking in all directions, Karna could not perceive where Ghatotkacha was. Suddenly in the sky appeared a huge red cloud, spitting fire and blazing meteors. The huge cloud began to thunder, shaking the whole earth. Fiery weapons were seen pouring out of the cloud, heading in the direction of Karna. Karna released his celestial weapons, but none could destroy the illusion produced by Ghatotkacha. Those blazing weapons fell upon the Kaurava army, killing them in thousands. Screams of horror were heard from the troops as those blazing weapons descended from the sky upon the foremost of the Kaurava leaders. Rakshasas of terrible form, as well as man-eating animals, came out of that cloud and began to devour the Kaurava troops. Indeed, from that cloud fell axes, lances, stones, boulders, maces, and fiery chakras. All the weapons were blazing with fire and fell upon the Kaurava warriors, piercing their bodies and severing their limbs. Suddenly the troops were overcome with panic and fled the battlefield screaming, run away, all is lost, the demigods are slaying us for the sake of the Pandavas." Only Karna stood his ground, contending with the mystic illusion. Then with a huge mace equipped with chakras, Ghatotkacha killed the 4 horses of Karna. Jumping down from his chariot and looking into the sky, Karna did not know what to do. The Kaurava warriors pleaded with the Suta's son in these words, "O Karna, kill the Rakshasa soon before he destroys the whole army. Use your Shakti weapon given to you by Indra, the king of heaven. This mystic illusion is not sparing even those running away from battle, or those that have no weapons. Without Arjuna, this whole army is about to be destroyed." Reflecting for a moment on the circumstances at hand, Karna decided to use his Shakti weapon. Picking it up from his chariot, he glanced upon it and remembered how it was given by Indra years before. He had exchanged it for his natural golden armor and earrings. It was meant for the destruction of Arjuna. Not finding any other way to save the army from extermination, Karna picked up that dart and readied himself to release it. It could be only used once, and after being released, it would again return to Indra. Karna then released the mighty weapon in the direction of the mystic illusion. Fierce winds began to blow, and all creatures in the sky were overcome with intense fear. That dart soared through the sky, and piercing the mystic illusion, it struck Ghatotkacha in the chest, depriving him of his life. While dying from the force of that weapon, Ghatotkacha wanted to do one last thing for the Pandavas. By his mystic power, he increased his size to a gigantic form, and falling from the sky, he crushed a complete Akshahini division of troops. The Kaurava army became joyous and approached the Suta's son to worship him. The Pandavas were overwhelmed with grief to see the gigantic dead form of Ghatotkacha. Bhima lamented greatly the death of his son. Only Lord Krishna was joyous on the occasion. He uttered loud sounds of happiness and embraced Arjuna with great affection. Seeing this manifestation of happiness on the death of one of their great heroes, Arjuna addressed him in the following words. "O Achyuta, you are showing signs of joy when the time is not appropriate. It is a time for lamentation over the death of one of our dearest nephews. Please tell me why you have lost your gravity over the death of a great hero." Vyasadeva replied, "Listen to me, O Dhananjaya. I know that Karna can now be killed easily because he no longer has possession of that celestial dart. There is not a man on earth that could stand before Karna with that dart in his possession. Even with my Sudarshan discus, I could not defeat Karna with his Shakti weapon. Now he is deprived of that dart, you can kill him easily. When you approach him in battle and his chariot wheels become stuck in the mud, overcome by the curse of the Brahmin, then you will be able to slay him. I have before this battle caused the annihilation of many demoniac rulers. I have caused the death of Jarasandha, Shishupal, and Ekalavya, the ruler of the Nishidas. These kings would have certainly joined the side of Duryodhana and would have been unconquerable in battle. Jarasandha was killed by Bhima, and Shishupal was killed by myself in the Rajasuya sacrifice at Indraprastha. I have also killed Ekalavya, who could not be killed by the demigods and asuras combined. I have also caused the death of Ghatotkacha by means of Karna's Shakti weapon. Out of affection for you, I did not slay him before. Being a Rakshasa, he was inimical to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. If Karna had not slain him, then I would have had to have killed him with my own weapons. They that are the destroyers of religious principles will be killed by me, either by myself or through my different energies. Do not be anxious about the death of Karna. It will take place. Bhima will also fulfill his vow to kill Duryodhana." After the death of Ghatotkacha, Yudhisthira sat down on his chariot, overwhelmed with grief. In that condition, Lord Krishna approached him and spoke to him these words: "O son of Kunti, do not grieve in this way. Such lamentation does not become one of high birth. Rise up, O king, and fight. If the enemy sees you in this condition, they will surely attain victory." Yudhisthira replied, "O son of Devaki, when we were living in the forest, the son of Bhima came to us and rendered us many services. While Arjuna was away in the heavenly planets, Ghatotkacha stayed with us for our protection. When we traveled great distances, he used to carry Draupadi upon his back and relieve her from fatigue. My affection for Ghatotkacha is twice what I feel for Sahadev. I was dear to him, and he was dear to me. For offending Arjuna, the ruler of the Sindhus was slain, and for offending me, I will slay that sinful Karna. This act alone will give me great joy." Having spoken these words, King Yudhisthira rushed to Karna with the anger like that of Yamaraj himself. While Yudhisthira was rushing into battle, Vyasadeva appeared on the battlefield and stopped his progress. He spoke to him in affectionate words. He said, "By good luck, O Yudhisthira, Karna has used his Shakti weapon in battle. If this had not have happened, then Arjuna would have been surely killed by that weapon. How then would you have grieved? It is for your good that the Rakshasa has been killed in battle. Do not lament, O son of Kunti. Death is the end of all creatures in this world. Ghatotkacha has attained the spiritual world, and he has attained great fame in battle. On the 5th day from today, this entire earth will be yours. With a cheerful heart, unite with your brothers and defeat your enemies." Saying this much, Vyasadeva disappeared from sight. Thus ends the 10th chapter of the Drona Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata entitled The Death of Ghatotkacha. Chapter 11 of the Drona Parva. The Fall of the Preceptor Drona. After the death of Ghatotkacha, the warriors on both sides fought on, desiring victory. When the battle approached midnight, many warriors fell asleep where they were fighting. Some fell asleep while riding their elephants, while others fell asleep in their chariots. The horsemen fell asleep on their horses, and the infantry fell asleep on the ground. Other warriors that were still awake began to slay those who had fallen unconscious due to fatigue. Seeing the situation, Vivatsu, Arjuna, called out loudly to the warriors, "All of you heroic soldiers are exhausted and overcome with sleep. Therefore you may take rest. When the moon appears toward the end of the night, you may again rise and fight." Hearing these pleasing words, the soldiers on both sides lay down to take rest for a few hours. Indeed, they all praised Arjuna for his compassion. Laying aside their weapons, they all fell into a slumber of sleep. Complete silence overcame the battlefield as those brave warriors forgot the fatigue of battle. A sweet breeze blew, giving solace to those brave heroes who had fought for so long. Sanjaya continued. After a couple of hours had passed, the moon appeared on the horizon, casting its rays in all directions. Illuminating the battlefield, that lunar disk revealed the sleeping soldiers overcome with the fatigue of battle. The darkness that had protected the soldiers for some time was now dissipated by the effulgence of the full moon. The soldiers awakened from their sleep and again readied themselves for battle. Desiring to enter the spiritual world, they faced each other with upraised weapons. At this time the wicked King Duryodhana approached Drona and spoke to him as follows. No mercy should be shown to those that are still resting from the fatigue of battle. The tired Pandavas have now become stronger due to the energy received from sleep. You, O Preceptor, are protecting the Pandavas and want them to gain in prosperity. All the celestial weapons, including the Brahmastra weapon, are known to you. I request you to use these weapons to destroy the Pandava army. Indeed, even the celestial demigods will not be able to defeat you as you invoke your celestial weapons. The Pandavas are certainly afraid of you. However, you are affectionate to them and are protecting them by not fighting to the best of your ability. Sanjaya continued. Thus chastised by his student, Drona became angered. He spoke to Duryodhana as follows. Although I am old, O Duryodhana, I am fighting to the utmost of my ability. All these soldiers are unacquainted with the celestial weapons. If I use them to slay large numbers of men, where will be the merit? If, from a desire to gain sovereignty, I kill large numbers of men, where will be the peace of mind? However, I am forced to follow your orders, but after slaying the host of the Panchalas, I will throw down my armor and give up this mortal body. Do you really think that Arjuna has been overcome with fatigue in battle? Do not be so stupid as to think that his energy is limited. That third son of Kunti has defeated Indra in battle, as well as the Gandharvas in the forest of Dvaitavan. He has killed 60,000 Nivat Kavachas, who could not be slain by the demigods combined. How then can human beings overcome him? O monarch, you have already seen how Arjuna has destroyed half your army. Where is your intelligence? To these words Duryodhana replied, Myself, Karna, Dushashan, and Shakuni shall take half the army, and approaching Krishna and Arjuna, we will slay them in battle. You may head up the other half and achieve your vow by slaughtering the Panchala warriors. Laughing at the immaturity of Duryodhana, Drona said, Blessings to you, O foremost of the fools. What Kshatri is there that would face one who is undefeatable in battle? Arjuna is invincible in battle, and even the demigods have not been able to impede his progress. Only persons who are destined to die speak words as you are speaking. You are sinful, arrogant, cruel, conceited, and possessed of little wisdom. Just before you stands the third son of Kunti. Go now along with Karna, Dushashan, and Shakuni. Being scorched by the arrows of Falgun, you will come running to me for assistance. Do not flee the battlefield, but fight to the best of your ability. Since I am not pleasing to you, you may take the task into your own hands. With these words the battle commenced, and those brave warriors fought on, desiring to enter the spiritual kingdom. When the end of the night came, the solar orb appeared on the horizon, diminishing the splendor of the moon. All the soldiers descended from their chariots and horses and elephants and offered obeisances and prayers to the sun god as he made his appearance on the eastern horizon. With the appearance of the sun, the warriors on both sides began to engage in battle. Taking half of the army, Drona began to grind the enemy ranks with his celestial weapons. The preceptor then came upon Drupad and Virata. Those two Pandava generals began to release their selected weapons against their archenemy, the son of Bharadraj. Causing their weapons to be ineffectual, Drona cut off the bows of both Drupad and Virata. Enraged, Virata threw 10 lances at Drona and sent up a loud roar on the field of battle. Drona also released a terrible dart that flew through the sky like a meteor. Drona shattered those lances and the dart by means of his own arrows. The preceptor then took out a couple of broad-headed shafts and pierced the chests of both heroes, depriving them of their lives. Witnessing the death of his father, Drishtadyumna took a vow to kill Dronacharya before the day had ended. He then went forward accompanied by a division of troops for keeping good his vow. Meanwhile, Arjuna was engaged in battle with the mighty preceptor. Beholding the encounter between the teacher and student, all on the battlefield were struck with wonder. Drona could not find an opportunity to gain the upper hand over his disciple. He invoked the Indra, the Prashupata, the Tvastra, the Vayavya, and the Yamya weapons. As soon as these weapons were released from the bow of Drona, they were destroyed by the celestial weapons of Arjuna. Drona was very pleased with the prowess of his disciple, and within his heart he cheered Arjuna. The demigods in heavens were witnessing the duel with intense curiosity. The heavens were filled with the praises for both teacher and student. Drona then invoked the Brahmastra weapon, which caused fierce winds to blow and the earth to tremble. Then Partha countered that weapon with a Brahma weapon of his own. When the two weapons met, they were withdrawn by Arjuna, causing the agitation in nature to stop. Drona then left Arjuna and began to exterminate the Panchalas and the Srinjayas. With his celestial weapons, he was destroying great numbers of men. It was obvious that Drona had given up all knowledge of morality, for he was slaughtering troops that did not know how to defend themselves from the prowess of his weapons. Arjuna was reluctant to fight with his preceptor, and as a result there was no one who could oppose that mighty hero. Seeing the situation, Lord Krishna spoke to the Pandavas. This foremost of all bowmen is incapable of being stopped even by the demigods. However, when he lays aside his weapons, he can be killed by any one of the great heroes. Let us tell him that his son Ashvatthama has been slain. Out of affection for his son, he will no longer fight, and thus his army will be saved. Hearing these words, Arjuna did not appreciate them, nor did Yudhisthira. However, others approved of it. And Bhima immediately went and killed a huge elephant named Ashvatthama that belonged to a king on their side. He then approached Drona and exclaimed aloud, "Ashvatthama has been slain." He said it repeatedly and spoke of the death of his son. Drona's arms weakened and his weapons fell from his hands. Recollecting, however, the strength of his son, Drona picked up his weapons and did not believe the words of Bhima. He again attacked the Panchalas and began to carve away at their front line. Drona then invoked the Brahma weapon, causing the slaughter of tens of thousands of men at a time. With this weapon he killed 500 Matsya warriors, 6,000 elephants, and 10,000 horsemen. Seeing Drona on the field of battle like Yamaraj himself, the demigods and sages who were witnessing the battle desired to take him to the heavenly planets. They then spoke to him, "O great Brahmana, you are fighting unrighteously. You are versed in all the Vedas and should know not to kill innocent men needlessly. Such acts do not become you. With the Brahmastra weapon you are burning men who do not know how to counter such weapons. Your predestined time on earth has now come to an end. O great Brahmana, lay aside your weapons and fix your mind on the Supreme Person in his four-armed Vishnu form. Do not continue to engage in such cruel acts." Hearing the words of the rishis and seeing Drishtadyumna before him, Drona no longer desired to engage in battle. Seeing Yudhisthira near him, Drona inquired whether his son had been slain or not. Drona believed that Yudhisthira would never tell a lie, even for the sake of the sovereignty of the three worlds. Previously, Lord Krishna had advised the king in these words, "If Drona continues to fight using these celestial weapons, the whole army is destined for annihilation. You can save the needless slaughter of men by telling a lie. In this case, falsehood is better than truth. There will be no sin incurred if you do so on my behalf. You should follow my instructions with firm faith." Bhima then said to Yudhisthira, "I have killed a mighty elephant belonging to the king of the Malavas, Indravarman. The elephant's name was Ashvatthama. I then went to Drona and said that his son had been slain. However, the preceptor did not believe my words. If you go to him and say that his son is dead, then he will lay aside his weapons. Because we are desiring victory, you should accept the advice of Govinda." Upon hearing the words of Bhima and reflecting on the good counsel given by Lord Krishna, Yudhisthira told Drona that his son had been killed, indistinctly adding the word elephant after the name. Before this time, Yudhisthira's chariot used to ride at a height of 4 fingers above the ground. However, since he uttered the words without faith in Krishna's instruction, his chariot and horses touched the earth. Hearing these words, Drona's strength diminished, and his celestial weapons would no longer come at his command. Remembering the words of the great sages, he cast aside his weapons and sat down in meditation. He fixed his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, and turned his thoughts completely away from battle. Perfecting his practice of yoga, he left his body in the presence of all. Only those endowed with spiritual vision were able to understand what was taking place. Taking the opportunity given by Providence, Drishtadyumna descended from his chariot with sword in hand. Arjuna called out loudly, "O son of Drupad, do not kill him, but bring him alive. A teacher should never be killed by his student." Not minding those words, Drishtadyumna came upon the chariot of Drona, and raising his sword, he severed the preceptor's head from his body. No one appreciated this act against a defenseless person, and all rebuked the son of Drupad for his cruelty. Arjuna melted with pity for his teacher and almost fell unconscious. Drishtadyumna, covered with the blood of Drona, then took the head by the hair and showed it to all in the field of battle. Overcome with great fear, the Kauravas ran away in all directions. Beholding the troops running away in all directions, Ashvatthama went to Duryodhana and inquired of him as follows, "O descendant of Bharat, why are the troops flying away in fear, and why are you not trying to rally them? All the great warriors, including Karna, are fleeing in fear. Has some great calamity overcome the army?" Duryodhana, unable to answer the question of Drona's son, said to Kripa, "Please tell him why the army is running away." Then Sardwat's son told Ashvatthama that his father had been slain by Drishtadyumna. Kripa told him in detail how his father had been killed. He told him of the deception and lie told by Yudhisthira, which caused Drona to throw away his weapons. He told him how Bhima had killed an elephant named Ashvatthama, and using this as a deception, lied to his father. Kripa also told Ashvatthama how Drishtadyumna had cut off the head of his father as he was sitting in meditation. He also spoke of how Arjuna had tried to stop this sinful act. Hearing of the slaughter of his father, Ashvatthama became like a cobra that had been accidentally stepped on. He blazed up like a red-hot fire and began to grind his teeth and squeeze his hands. He thought of the annihilation of the whole Pandava army. King Dhritarashtra inquired, "O Sanjaya, when Drona's son heard of the slaughter of his father, what did he say and what did he do?" "He lived only to please his father, and the father lived only to please the son. What action did that bull among men take to avenge the unfair killing of the preceptor?" Sanjaya replied, "O king, after the death of his father, Ashvatthama appeared like Yamaraj himself, capable of destroying the three worlds. In that angry mood he spoke to Duryodhana. I have now heard of the unrighteous death of my father. Without doubt my father has attained the supreme destination that is meant for great heroes. I do not lament for this. However, I cannot tolerate the fact that Dristadumna has seized his locks of hair and has displayed my father's head. Today the earth shall drink the blood of the son of Drupad as well as the wicked king Yudhisthira. Today I shall exterminate the whole Pandava army." Previously my father had received a weapon from Lord Vishnu known as the Narayana Astra. This weapon has the power to destroy even those that are considered unslayable. That weapon will destroy all that oppose it. No one shall escape with life today, having released that foremost of weapons. With this resolution, Ashvatthama rallied the retreating troops. Meanwhile the Pandavas were witnessing with wonder the Kaurava army again assembled for battle. Arjuna informed his brothers and all present that Ashvatthama had rallied the troops with the intention of killing the sinful Dristadumna. Arjuna did not approve of the way Dristadumna had killed his preceptor. Speaking in this way, both Bhima and Dristadumna defended their position for killing Drona, who had turned away from the path of righteousness. Hearing the harsh words of Dristadumna, Satyaki trembled with anger and took up a mace to kill Dristadumna. However, he was stopped by Bhima, who pacified him with affectionate words. Sahadeva also spoke to him, and thus his anger was quelled. Together they again prepared themselves to meet the oncoming enemy. Drona's son then began to cause a great carnage of men on the front line of battle. He piled up a mountain of heads from the army of the Pandavas. Then, touching water and invoking the Narayana Astra, Ashvatthama aimed that foremost of weapons at the Pandava army. The earth began to tremble, and a great windstorm appeared on the battlefield. In the heavens, hundreds and thousands of celestial arrows appeared with flaming mouths. Maces, battle axes, shatagnis, javelins, and discs, effulgent as the sun, appeared in the sky in tens of thousands. Coming down upon the Pandava army, those weapons began to destroy innumerable men. That greatest of weapons, owned by Lord Narayan, began to consume the Pandava army like a wildfire consumes dry grass. Witnessing the slaughter of the troops, all the Pandavas fell into anxiety and did not know what to do. Lord Krishna, the protector of his devotees, then ordered the troops in the following words: "Lay down your weapons and descend from your chariots, horses, and elephants. If you lay weaponless on the ground, this astra will not harm you. Even if you think of battle within your mind, this weapon will slaughter you. Give up all thoughts of war and fix your minds in a peaceful state." Hearing these words, all the soldiers threw down their weapons and laid upon the ground. However, Bhimasena refused to surrender to that foremost of all weapons. He said to all present, "None of the warriors should lay down their weapons. I shall oppose this weapon in battle. With my heavy mace, I shall stop the force of this weapon. O Arjuna, you should not lay down the Gandiva bow, for a stain will come upon your glory." Thus addressed by Bhima, Arjuna said, "My vow is that this Gandiva bow shall not be used against women, cows, brahmanas, and the Narayana weapon." When answered in these words, Bhima rushed forward on his chariot for challenging Ashvatthama. Drona's son, smiling all the while, then began to direct the astra at Bhima. Indeed, the great weapon passed over all the soldiers and concentrated on the head of Bhima. Suddenly Bhima appeared like a mountain that was on fire. Quickly Arjuna covered him with the Vruna weapon that cooled the blazing heat. He released that weapon so quickly that no one knew of it, not even Ashvatthama. The Narayana Astra built up in strength, and the chariot of Bhima was blazing with fire. Seeing the certain destruction of Bhima, both Arjuna and Krishna rushed at Bhima to save him. They jumped in his chariot, which was protected by the Vruna weapon, and forced Bhima to the ground. Bhima was sighing like a snake and refused to part with his weapons. Then Lord Krishna spoke to him. "O son of Pandu, although I have forbidden you, you do not throw down your weapons. If this weapon could have been defeated by Arjuna, then I would have never recommended the army to stop fighting. Just see, all the warriors have given up their weapons. If you do not do the same, this weapon will destroy you." Bhima then reluctantly threw aside his weapons and lay down upon the ground. Thus pacified, the Narayana Astra refrained from killing the Pandava troops. When the heat of that weapon had cooled, sweet breezes began to blow and a fragrant aroma appeared in the wind. Beholding the pacification of the Narayana Astra, the Pandavas again stood ready for battle. Duryodhana rushed to Ashvatthama and said, "O foremost of the Brahmanas, use this weapon again, for the Pandavas are forming their troops for victory." Ashvatthama replied, "O king, that weapon cannot be brought back. If it is, it will undoubtedly slay the person who releases it. Vyasadeva has caused this weapon to be baffled. I will, however, use my other weapons for slaughtering the Pandava host." Making this resolution and seeing Krishna and Arjuna present before him, Ashvatthama invoked the Agneya weapon, which caused intense fire to appear on the field of battle. Arrows that were burning with flames fell upon the Pandava soldiers, scorching their bodies. Ashvatthama then directed that weapon toward the chariot of Krishna and Arjuna. The Agneya weapon killed thousands upon thousands of chariot fighters, elephants, and horsemen, like a forest fire destroys trees. To save the army, Arjuna invoked the Brahmastra weapon, which countered the weapon released by Ashvatthama. When both weapons were withdrawn, the Pandavas saw that a full Akshahini division of troops had been burnt by that weapon. So scorched were the soldiers that they could not be distinguished. Both armies thought that Krishna and Arjuna had been destroyed by that weapon, but upon seeing them in their chariot, the Pandava warriors cheered loudly and blew their conch shells. Upon seeing his weapon baffled, Ashvatthama did not know what to do. He descended from his chariot and ran away from the fight. As he was leaving the battlefield, he came upon Vyasadeva. He offered his obeisances unto him and spoke to him with tears in his eyes. "O great sage, why has my weapon become fruitless? This fiery weapon has the power to destroy the whole Pandava army. Why then has it been pacified after the slaughter of only one Akshahini division of troops? O great Muni, I desire to hear of this in detail." Vyasadeva replied, "O son of Drona, as you have been told before, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is to be worshipped by all persons. Even the great demigods, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, worship and meditate upon that Supreme Person. He is the cause of this cosmic manifestation, and he is the creator and maintainer of the modes of material nature. He is incapable of being vanquished, for his body is completely transcendental. He makes possible the birth of all creatures in this world, and he is therefore the father of all living beings. He has appeared in this world to re-establish the principles of religion, and he is appearing like an ordinary human being, bewildering everyone by his internal potency. Arjuna is his eternal associate, and is also incapable of being slain. There is no warrior on this battlefield that can equal him. The eternal Lord Krishna should be worshipped by all beings." Hearing the words of Vyasadeva, Ashvatthama became pacified and ordered that the troops be withdrawn for the day. After the fall of the preceptor Drona, the Kaurava warriors became greatly unhappy and entered their tents for nightly rest. Thus ends Chapter 11 of the Drona Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata, entitled The Fall of the Preceptor Drona. Thus ends the Drona Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata.